Hi, John.
I was just going to ask you really about to get your telescope out again. Really, I mean, do you need to kind of almost refresh and remind that basically you were top at Christmas, weren't you? You were so close to being top at New Year. Bring back some of that positivity, I guess, this week in training, but also with the performance and the game on Sunday.
That's all I done. You reinforce them how good they are. That accept first that obviously there were periods in the game against Fulham that we didn't hit the levels that we want to earn the right to win a football match. We accepted that and then move on, and believe again in what we do and be consistent and continue in that road that is taking us so far, much further than a lot of people expected or imagined, and we need to continue to do that.
Yeah. That performance on Sunday, I mean, there's always talk about resting players and for the FA Cup resting, rotating. How important is it in terms of the context of this season for Arsenal, for the squad, do you think, on Sunday, that tie? For the tie, for the actual game, you wouldn't be tempted to rest and rotate like some managers might do this season, this weekend.
Well, we have to give certain opportunities to certain players, that's for sure, and to decide whether Sunday is the right environment and the right moment to do that. That's a question that we would have to resolve in the next 2 days.
Mikel, and I know you're in a different part of your career now and a different part of your life, but when you face Liverpool, does the Evertonian ever come out on you? And is there more of a? Do you feel it more when you face a Liverpool side?
Feeling more in what sense?
Because of your past experiences, you used to live,
Yeah.
retirement on those.
Well, it is special for me, and I have so many memories playing against them, and as well because they are a top side, so it requires a big preparation and a lot of detail in everything that we have to do, and that was proven again a week ago or two when we played them at Anfield for both teams, I think.
And can I also ask another question about how the team have adapted this season to playing Champions League football and the exertions that would have? And I know you've played Europa League football, but there's an intensity of playing the Champions League nights that you can't really replicate. How do you feel that your team has adapted to that, and do you think that's had maybe an effect on those games at the weekend?
I think for 93% of the players, a new experience. So they have a congested period that they never had in their lives. But Gabriel Jesus never had it in their life. So Zinchenko never had, even they were at City. So it's the first experience that they ever had at this level, ever. So, and still they're doing so well. So well done to them.
Is it a factor, like, just in terms of physically and maybe not necessarily physically, because you were playing Thursday weekends last season, but mentally, is it draining for them?
I think it's not draining. I think they are incredibly enthusiastic about what they are living and they are loving it. But in terms of demands, physical amount of minutes, and what they have to deal is something new because they haven't done it. Last year they didn't play that many amount of minutes. I think last year we had one player in certain amount of minutes. This season we have 14. So that's a lot. Yeah.
Mikel, I wanted to ask you about Timber, please. I think for a lot of us and a lot of the fans, because he's not been there, he's kind of been out of sight, out of mind, and kind of forget that in a way that he's here still. I mean, how big a blow was that in terms of your planning for what you wanted to do with the team?
It was a huge blow because I think everybody conceived from day one what he was going to bring to the team, the versatility, the quality, another kind of leadership and ability that we didn't have in that back line. And it was a huge blow. It was a huge blow as well, losing Thomas, because we had other plans as well with him to become very versatile and unpredictable in our way of playing. And we haven't had them, and that was difficult. We have them in the building, which is a joy to have them, but we haven't had them on the field as much as we wanted.
So with Timber, was his signing going to change the way the team looked a bit and give you loads of different things?
Yeah.
So you've actually not seen your plan come to fruition yet?
A little part, because he was only available for pre-season a few games and the first game of the season.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Winning that FA Cup as a manager, if anything, did it convince you of your ability to win trophies as a manager? Because as much as you can believe in yourself, there must have been a little bit of doubt when you go to a club like Arsenal. What you're doing is you can win trophies by playing that way.
Well, it gives you confidence that you can win big matches against top opponents, because we did it against some of the best teams in England. And yeah, it was a really reinforcing. It was a beautiful moment. It was a shame that we didn't have the crowd to share with in that moment. But yeah, it still remains as a really nice thing.
How nervous were you before that game? Just compared
Very.
to
Well, nervous, excited, nervous. You are so willing, you know, to make that next step and bring silverware to the club after a few difficult years. And we had the opportunity. We didn't want to let anybody down, and we managed to achieve it.
And speaking of nerves, that FA Cup you won as a player of Arsenal in 2014, such a big trophy, because of going so many years without one. Just how nervous were you before that one? Did you feel the pressure of the club and the history on you?
Well, we were a lot of years without winning everything, and the feeling in that dressing room, we wanted to do for our son. It was a few difficult years for him, and we really wanted to deliver for him. You know, it was a great opportunity to do that, and it was a way of giving something back to him. And I remember talking about it with a lot of the players.
So when you went 2-0 down, was that?
He said, give the ball to Santi, and he's going to get this sorted. It was an incredible FA Cup final, you know, everything expected in the way that I could never imagine. It got worse a few minutes later, but then it ended up in a beautiful way.
And just finally, can this game against Liverpool be a way of sending a message that, you know, Liverpool are now at the top and they're going for the title, but it's a way of taking a dent out of the title rival, isn't it?
I think more my message is, I think we've been sending very strong performances in the last 2 years for everybody to understand where we are and where we want to be. That's it. We have another opportunity to win a game and go to the next round, and that's the only thing that we have to think of.
Nick? We talk a lot about your team's performances, but looking over the past half season, do you sense that opponents have set up differently against you this season than they did maybe last season? And how big a challenge has that been to adapt to?
Some of them yes, some of them no, and some of them have changed because of game state as well, and some of them to adapt. Probably they have adapted more than other seasons to us, which I think is something really positive.
How do you think they've done that? What do you mean exactly?
Tactically, especially. Yeah.
In terms of sitting deeper, being more cautious?
Not only that, in many ways with their lineups, in certain decisions they make in relation to what they normally do.
And does that mean that being more flexible and having more strings to your bow is even more important this season than it was last season?
It is always, because you become more unpredictable, and that's easier and for us and more difficult for the opponent, because they have to spend a lot of time preparing things, and that's something very good for us.
Is that a big target for the second half of the season, to develop that unpredictability?
That would depend on the players that we have available, and we have to play on the players' strength. That's the first thing. I don't want to put players to do things that they don't feel comfortable doing. That's the first principle that we have to apply, and play everybody in their strength. We have some really good players, and we'll win matches for sure.
Thanks, Nick. Finally, Gary.
Arsenal used to say that confidence is quite a difficult thing to get back once you've lost a couple of games, and it takes a bit of time. Have you found that? Because you obviously mentioned momentum. Have you found that when you've lost a couple, it's just you to get back, and then what's your way to get it back?
The thing is, I don't know where that confidence is. We cannot measure it. Hopefully I could bring in the morning something, take split, put it there, I said confident, 10 out of 10, good. The next day is 6. We cannot measure it. We can imagine how they feel like, but we cannot measure. So it's something that is there, and we believe that we understand it, but actually it's not a fact. It's more a perception. And that confidence can change after the first minute. They put a great delivery, they score a goal, that confidence is changed immediately, you know. So let's try to give them a lot of love, a lot of confidence, and positive reassurance all the time. Make sure that they know how good they are.
And there must be some things in training, or when you see them walking around the training ground, that you pick up on small things about their demeanour and what they look.
Yeah, especially with the players that they're not playing a lot. You know, that confidence is not about their ability to do things, but sometimes the fact that we decide not to play them, obviously, is going to affect them, their ability to believe that they are capable of doing certain things. So sometimes our decisions as well.
I was just wondering, obviously last year you played City and in the fourth round you went out. And now you've played Liverpool in the title race. What context is there when you're playing a title rival in the FA Cup in terms of the title race? Is there any context? Is there can you set a barometer for them, or can you make a statement for them, and how does it affect you in relation to them?
Winning always helps, and if we would have won that game, probably that would have helped. And it was a really close game. We ended up losing 1-0. But we took a lot of positive because we made so many rotations as well, and they didn't. Sunday will be different. Let's see.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.